S.S.S. Acharei, Tov Shin, Pei Daled. We want to welcome everybody back after the fantastic Holy Yom Tov of Pesach. We're back for our summer season, and that's the way it goes. We jump from Sukkot to Pesach, and then from Pesach to Sukkot, and that's how the years keep flying by. But here we're excited to be back. Baruch Hashem, the Toyamel is back to the regular Cholent and Kegel. Everyone is extremely happy, and that the nourishment is here to give everybody some Ruchnius and Gashmius every Thursday night through the summer. And the pasuk in our parsha says the following: Ushmartem es chukoisai v'es mishpotai. That you should watch, you should keep the chukim and mishpatim asher ya'aseh oisam ha'adam, those that each person will do. And the pasuk ends vochai bohem. That's actually not how the pasuk ends, but the pasuk continues vochai bohem. That you should live and live through them, live with them. So the Gemara, Sechta Yuma, Daf Pehei Amud Beis, tells us a drasha on this pasuk, on these words of vochai bohem. So the Gemara teaches us very famous lesson. Everybody knows this lesson. The Gemara teaches us that v'chai bohem v'loi sheyomus bohem. That a person has to make sure that whatever they do, we learn from here, we learn that pikuach nefesh is doiche kiyum ha-mitzvos. Everybody knows that if something is pikuach nefesh, it's doiche Shabbos, doicha all mitzvahs in the Torah, doicha all lavim in the Torah, right? So, v'chai bohem, that whatever you do in your life, v'loi sheyomus bohem, pikuach nefesh, is doicha kiyum ha-mitzvahs. The Targum, if you look in the Targum, those of you who are Baruch Hashem, everybody here, I'm sure, is being Ma'abesedra, Shnai Mikra, Bechet Targum, hopefully you're up to date. And you read this week's Parsha, the Targum tells us something a little bit different. The Targum tells us, what is Vochai Bohem? L'chaye Olma. The Targum translates the words Vochai Bohem, that you should live L'chaye Olma, which means not in this world. The Targum is saying something very interesting, that when you do the mitzvahs, you'll live with them. L'chaye Olma, you'll live with them, you'll live on in Olam Haba. And Rashi, if you look in Rashi, Rashi actually says this too, that Vochai Bohem means to live where? To live on in Olam Haba, in the next world. And the reason being, and if you think about the translation, Vochai Bohem means that you should live on forever. And nobody lives forever. So if we're saying Vochai Bohem, that you're going to stay alive through this, that you're going to live with this, it must mean Liyoim Shekulei Aruch, it must mean in Olam Haba, because over there a person stays alive, could stay alive forever. But in this world, nobody actually stays alive. So Vochai Bohem must mean L'chaye Olma, it means for Olam Haba. So it would seem, from what we just said, we said the Gemara Masechta Yuma, V'chai bohem, v'loi sheyomus bohem, which means you need to take care of yourself in this world, in Olam Hazeh. And then we have the Targum and Rashi, who say V'chai bohem means in the next world, in the world of Olam Haba. It would seem that these two things, these two different opinions, really, they contradict each other. One is talking about Kiyum HaMitzvahs, to be Mekayim the mitzvah. The other one, the other translation, the other Shita is talking about Schar and Olam Haba. Two very different, contradictory thoughts. And the truth is, if you think about it a little more, those, the Mir Tashem, besides being Ma'abesedra, that this week we start learning Pirkei Avos on Shabbos. And famous Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, I'm sure everybody tries to at least learn through it every Shabbos. Mishnah Pirkei Avos, Parak Aleph, tells us that a person is supposed to be, how you're supposed to behave and act toward HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You're supposed to act like an Eved who serves his master without expecting any reward. We're not supposed to walk around, right? Everybody knows, Shaloi al-manas l'kabel pras. We serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu because HaKadosh Baruch Hu said so. And we want to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We want to do Hashem's will. We don't serve Hashem in order that we should receive a reward. And according to one of these translations, L'chaye Alma, what we're saying here is V'chai Bohem, V'olam Haba, that we are doing the mitzvah, so we should receive a reward in Olam Haba. That's not the reason and the way we're really supposed to do mitzvahs. So we have some contradictory opinions here. And the Nesivos Shalom tells us a beautiful, beautiful yesod to explain this. And actually, we spoke about this in a shir on this parsha 4 years ago. And I spoke about this during the COVID, when we were not saying the shiurim here on site, but during the pandemic, we said this shir, and when I was preparing the shir then, I remember thinking how relevant it was. But this is a lesson, one of the lessons in the Nesivos Shalom that really is so worth saying over. It's worth listening to and worth trying to internalize and live up to the ideals. And the Nesivos Shalom says as follows. He says that V'chai Bohem actually includes both things. Because we say, why? How could it mean Olam Hazeh, Olam Haba? It's two different, it's contradictory things, Olam Hazeh, Olam Haba. Said the Nesivos Shalom, they're not. It's not a stira. They don't contradict each other. He says, V'chai Bohem means Kiyum HaMitzvahs. That's what it means. V'chai Bohem, like the Gemara says, V'lo Yishayomus Bohem. You need to stay alive to keep mitzvahs. A person should keep mitzvahs. But there's a caveat over here. What kind of keeping the mitzvahs? How should a person keep the mitzvahs? A person has to be done. V'chai Bohem. You have to do a mitzvah. Every mitzvah that you do should be done with a chiyus. That when you do a mitzvah, you should do it with energy. Your entire body, your entire self should feel alive when you do a mitzvah. Not that, Hashem said we have to do it, so let me schlep myself out over here, schlep into shul, chap on a little tefillin, chap a mincha, chap a ma'ariv, chap a little shir, 5 minutes, think it. But when you do a mitzvah, you should feel how lucky we are. You should feel what a privilege this is, and that you're doing something for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, V'chai Bohem. It's Kiyum HaMitzvahs, and you should do it. You should do it with life. We should do mitzvahs and avodas Hashem. Kol atzmoisoi toimarna Hashem mi kamoicha. That all your bones should be speaking. We should be doing mitzvahs with excitement, not out of rote. And that should be V'chai Bohem. So even if you're performing the mitzvah with one of your limbs, right? We know you put tefillin on your hands, you walk, whatever you do. If you're doing the mitzvah with one of your limbs, but still your entire being should be into doing the mitzvah. And says in Nesivos Shalom that this also applies to those who say that this pasuk is referring to Olam Haba. Now, how could this be? We just talked about Kiyum HaMitzvahs. In Olam Haba, you don't have a chance to be Mekayim mitzvahs. You can't do mitzvahs in Olam Haba. So how does this translation, this expression, this answer of the Nesivos Shalom, that V'chai Bohem means Kiyum HaMitzvahs, but with life, V'chai Bohem, live through the mitzvahs, says in the Nesivos Shalom an unbelievable thing, and he says it from a previous Talmud Rebbe from Reb Shlomo Karlin, and I'm sure Rabbi Bro will let me know how many, even though I really should know, but how many generations back, I'm not sure. Reb Shlomo Karlin says something which is a little bit scary in one way, but it's extremely, extremely important to learn this lesson. Reb Shlomo Karlin, Zechusa Yogan Aleinu, says something unbelievable. He says that in Shemayim, they say like this. And how he knows what they say in Shemayim, I don't know. I'll leave that to the Rabbi Bro to let me know also. Where Reb Shlomo Karlin, how he knew in Shemayim, He says, in Shemayim, this is what they say. You can have a Yid that he's Mekayim, the Torah and mitzvahs. You have a Yid who keeps Shabbos with all its halachas, with all the Hilchas Shabbos, with all the Hidurim, and all the Chumras. A Yid is really, really into it. Yet, if he doesn't feel and internalize the Geschmack and the Tainug of Shabbos, and I'm not just talking about everything that we see in this room, that Tainug of Shabbos, of delicious, delicious Toyamel. We're talking about the Ruchnius feel, the closeness that a Yid should feel and feels with Hashem on Shabbos. So you could be Mekayim the whole Shabbos. Never be Mechal Shabbos. Keep all the halachas. Keep the halachas with the chumras. But if you don't do it with a tainug where you're feeling the geschmack of Shabbos, then when that person gets to the next world, of course he's going to get his chelik in Gan Eden. You're doing mitzvahs. You're keeping Shabbos. But you know what you're going to be like in Olam Haba, says Reb Shlomo Mikalin. He says you're going to be like a bench, a piece of furniture there. You're going to be in Gan Eden. You're going to be there, no question about it. You're getting schar. You did mitzvahs. But you're going to be the same way you were here on this world. In this world, you went through the motions. You were there. You were a bystander. You're like the bus stop, right? You're sitting there. You're not doing anything wrong, but everything keeps going by you. So if a person doesn't have the geschmack and mitzvahs, you don't have the tainug in Shabbos, you don't enjoy a yontif the way you should, then when a person gets to Gan Eden, he's going to have the same thing. And when you see in Gan Eden, those tzaddikim, like we just said, we said in the Birkas HaMazon, in benching by the Seder, that the tzaddikim are sitting there. You want to be one of those people. You want to be that type of person. Then that's a direct extension of the tainug and the chiyus here in this world that you put into your mitzvahs and into your avodas Hashem. So v'chai bohem in Olam Haba is directly related to this world. V'chai bohem, you have to keep mitzvahs, you have to do the mitzvahs in this world, but you have to do it with life. You have to do it showing that it's geschmack to do the daf. It's geschmack to be a yid. It's geschmack to do mitzvahs. It's geschmack to have a seder, to keep a Shabbos. If you do that, v'chai bohem, you keep the mitzvahs with life, then it's the same. L'chaye alma. That's the life that you're going to have in the next world, and that's the life that everybody wants. So if one is v'chai bohem with kiyam ha-mitzvahs, you're zoicha to an olam haba. That's a lie. You're not just going to be a bystander. You're not just going to be there. And the lesson that we're learning is obvious. I remember when I was speaking about it then, so it was very hard. We were sitting in a house. We were saying Yeshia Thursday night. The next night we were going to daven the Yechidus in the house. There was no going to shiurim. There was no going. So we had to really impress on people and try to get the message across that as much as you can to try to do mitzvahs with geschmack, and that would give you a little warmth during COVID when we were all sitting home. But now that we're actually out there, and Baruch Hashem, Hashem gives us the opportunity to be up around, to go to shiurim, to go to shul, to keep a Shabbos, to have Sheves Achim together, to do things together, do mitzvahs, chesed, to come here to be kachol on Thursday night. You could come here and just pack the boxes. You could come here and just do deliveries till 3 o'clock in the morning, or you could do it like the volunteers over here, with a smile, with a geschmack, singing, pulling out of the parking lot, midnight, going to deliver to the hospitals, not just because they're on camera, because they have a tremendous geschmack, and they love doing the mitzvahs. And their reward in Olam Haba will be the same thing. And that's the reward. That's the reward. Shaloyal Manasseh Chal V'Pras. We don't do it for the purpose. We don't do it for the purpose of getting schar, but what we do is because we know that the way we do the mitzvahs is the reward. It's mamela. That's the way it's going to be. Let's learn this lesson. Every one of us going to go into the Shabbos with the geschmack, with the real Tainik Shabbos. When we do a mitzvah, we're going to be alive.